Julie. Welcome back to Row & Co Farms. Excited to bring you back into my kitchen today. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. We bring you lots of videos every week about our homestead, our kitchen, our garden, our flower farm, beekeeping, animals, everything that we're doing around our homestead. So I hope that you will enjoy the content that we have here and that you'll like and subscribe. So let's get into today's video. We are in the kitchen again, and we are going to be talking spices. Now, I am a self-professed spice junkie. I probably have way too many spices on hand, but I love cooking with herbs and spices. I try to keep as many different kinds and varieties on hand as I can think of, but there are some basics that I always keep around, and those are the ones we're going to be talking about today. So let's do a little tour of my spice drawer and my spice cabinet and my spice rack over there. I have backups to my backups, guys. I do not like to run out of spices, and I definitely have my favorites of all time that I never, ever run out of, and we're going to talk about that today too. So let's get into it. Let's take a tour of the spice drawer. So I keep my spices in 3 different places. The first one is right here next to my stove. These are the spices that I'm working from every single day, and when I'm quickly doing something by the stove, I can reach over here and grab what I need. So this is where I keep the majority of the go-to things. I also keep some of my oils up here, and then down here at the bottom, I keep just some different containers that have some of my other things. So fresh garlic, honey from my bees. We have crystal salt in here, or like a large coarse ground salt. This holds butter, and then this holds sugar. So we basically have everything that we need right here at our fingertips while we're cooking. I won't go into the specifics of what's in here because we will talk about that when we get into the spice drawer where we keep the more bulk ingredients. So that's the first place that we like to keep some of our spices. Now, the next place is just below that, and so I'm going to readjust the camera so you can see. So the next spot is right here next to my stove. We have this neat little slide out cabinet where we can keep additional spices. So these are just kind of single items that I don't keep as much of on hand because we don't use them as often, but I don't need them right there where I need to access them every single meal. So these are just the assorted other things, and we'll get into that in just a minute. I'm just kind of giving you the rundown of like where the spices are contained. Now, the other spot is over here. It's that big drawer at the bottom down there, and we're gonna move over there, and that's where we're gonna start the tour. I figured I'd just plop myself down right here so I could talk to you guys about everything. So I keep the spices in all kinds of containers. Obviously, you see, I've got stuff in bags, I've got stuff in jars, I've got stuff in plastic containers. It's all kinds. So I need to reorganize a little bit of it, and I will get to that. But right now, let's just talk about what's in here. So turmeric is one of the ones that's right on top. This is not something that I use all the time. This is every now and then. Turmeric for me goes into curries and those types of dishes, but I don't use it in a whole lot of other stuff. Next up is this bag of tomato powder. This is brand new to me. If you watched my Azure haul like a week ago, this is something I just got, and I have not even opened the bag to use it yet. I really need to put it into a mason jar, and I'll be working on that here soon, probably later this afternoon. Next, I have some organic garlic granules, and I have several different containers of garlic in here. That is one of my go-to spices. I never want to run out of garlic powder. Granulated garlic. I like the granulated garlic the best. I don't really like the powder. I think it's too fine. So granulated is my favorite, but we always keep a lot of garlic on hand. We like the fresh stuff too, but we also keep the other. Okay, let's grab the next thing. Okay, this is cocoa powder. This should probably just be in my baking stuff in the pantry. So I'm gonna set that aside so we make sure to put it in there and not put it back in here. I did not scan this thing before I opened it up to talk to you guys today, obviously. Okay, next up, there's some just different packets here. It looks like these are onion soup mix, and those actually need to go into the pantry as well. And there's some other mixes here. Yeah, those all can go into the pantry. So, okay, next up, this is minced onion, and I have more minced onion here, so we could probably combine some of that together, but all kinds of different onion in here. So granulated onion and minced onion are some of my favorites, and again, one of the ones that we just don't do without. It is always right up there next to the stove, so I can grab it at any time. We cook with fresh onions, and we also cook with granulated onion because we love it so much. Here's some more granulated onion. So I think this, oh no, this is not it also. Okay, more granulated onion here. So obviously super important for us to have granulated onion. Let's see what one of my other, okay, my other absolute never run out is paprika. I absolutely love paprika. It goes on just about everything that I make, especially meats. My mother just instilled the love of paprika in me. It's the German, you know, we used to make goulash, and goulash has loads of paprika in it. So anytime I used to eat goulash, I would have all that paprika in there. It just reminds me of my mom. And of course now, because I can't eat beef anymore, I haven't eaten goulash in quite a while, and I really miss it. So I'm gonna have to come up with some kind of way to turn my emu into a goulash with the paprika. So anyway, paprika is another one of my go-to favorites, so we will not be doing without that. Let's see. Okay, this is more garlic. You guys already know my thing about garlic, so we have that. Another favorite is chili powder. So any kind of Latin or Mexican dishes, chili, things like that, they all get some chili powder. It gives a nice kind of smoky flavor, but not too much heat. And that's what's good about it, is you don't have to worry about it spicing it too much with that heat that you may not want. So we really like chili powder. Next is lemon pepper. This is not an all the time thing for me. I use lemon pepper pretty infrequently, and a lot of times you'll find me more just using a fresh lemon or some lemon zest and fresh ground pepper versus using something like this, but we still like to have it. It's good when you're making like wings and stuff like that, just to be able to toss a little bit of that on there. Next, let's see, what are we going to talk about next? Let's just go ahead and get this one done. So this is thyme. Normally I have lots of my own fresh thyme, or I have my own dried thyme from my garden, but we ran out this year, so I didn't have any more, so we bought some because I love thyme. Anytime I'm making something with onions, I love to sprinkle thyme in with the onions when I'm sauteing them. It just makes the onions smell and taste so delicious. So I love dried thyme. Another one of those that I just will not do without. I keep saying that. I probably obviously don't want to do without any of these because I have so much of them, but thyme, here's another thyme. Okay, yeah, so thyme is definitely something that I just really enjoy having on hand. So all of these really have their place in our cooking world, so I like to have them there. Okay, next we have crushed red pepper. I love crushed red pepper. I do have cayenne pepper in here too, and honestly, I don't really use cayenne pepper. I've been keeping it because, you know, you never know, but if I have the option between crushed red pepper and cayenne pepper, I always go with the crushed. So this is something I never want to run out of. And last year, what I ended up doing, which was really, really good, is when I made fermented hot sauce, in the end, I strained off all of the pulp, and it's probably in here. This is it right here. No, it's not. I gotta find it. Okay, so basically I strained off all the pulp of the fermented hot sauce, and I dried it and turned that into an herb or spice to add in. So it's a fermented crushed red pepper or crushed green pepper flake. Oh my gosh, it is so delicious. And I don't know why I don't see it in here, because it should be in here. We'll find it. We will find it. Okay, so moving on. This is also crushed red pepper, but this is homegrown crushed red pepper. So we dehydrated peppers and then just pulverize them into this powder. So we have green and red in there, and they are really spicy. All right, next up, this is a spice or a herb mix called Supengloon. It's from Germany. My family sends it to me from over there, and it is just a dehydrated mix of different things that go into soups. I don't really know what's in there. It looks like onions, garlic, maybe some carrots and some different herbs, but I always just toss, you know, a little handful into soups when I'm making those. My dad's going back to Germany soon, maybe not soon because of this war, but he was supposed to go to Germany soon, and usually he's the one that brings me back some of the different spices that I like from over there. So unfortunately, I may not get any right now, so this may be my last little bit of that. Okay, next up, peppercorns. I like to do fresh ground pepper in my little pepper mill when I can, but I also like to just grind a whole bunch of it down and, you know, keep it in my little pinch pot next to the stove. So these are like four color peppercorns. There's white, green, black, and pink, and it just gives a nice flavor. So I like to keep those around. Let's see, next up, this is chicken bouillon powder. This is not anything that I made. This is, you know, store-bought. I just moved it into this container. But, you know, if you don't have any chicken broth on hand and you know, just want to quickly, you know, mix up something, you can just use a couple tablespoons of this mixed in with some water, and bam, you've got a nice flavorful chicken broth. So that is a go-to thing to always keep on hand, especially in times where you may not have the fresh stuff available. All right, next for baking, cinnamon. You gotta have cinnamon, guys. Oh, I don't even want to open this up because it's gonna smell so good, so I'm not, but we love cinnamon for baking. I also have here nutmeg, which we do use for baking as well, but I'm not a huge fan of nutmeg. For some reason, the flavor is not my favorite, so generally when a recipe is calling for nutmeg, I tend to omit it. Sometimes you still need it, so I do keep it around, but most of the time I don't keep it, so that's why I have a tiny jar of this, because it's not my all-time favorite. Okay, next up, more curry powder. Okay, I was wondering, so yeah, I don't keep a lot of this, again, because I don't make a whole lot of curries. Maybe 5 or 6 times a year we'll have a curry dish, and so yeah, I just don't need a whole lot of that, so I just keep a small amount of that around. Next is fennel seed. Same thing, we don't use a lot of fennel seed. It has its places where you can add it into different things. Usually I'm using it in canning or pickling recipes, but other than that, I'm not using a whole lot of fennel seed. Fennel is very strong. It's kind of licoricey tasting to me, so it's not something you want to overdo too much. All right, next here, this is rosemary. I love rosemary. I kind of use it anytime I'm using thyme. I also kind of add rosemary to it as well. They both play well on each other and usually go well together. So always keep a lot of rosemary around. Obviously another one of those, so bunch of rosemary. Oh my goodness, this drawer is dirty. We're gonna have to wipe this out. Lots of different spices in the bottom of it have ended up down there. This is pink Himalayan salt. It's just a grinder, just an extra one. We've got cinnamon sticks. So obviously we use those around the holidays, and we make some nice potpourris and stuff like that with those. And I don't even know why this is in here. This is like a pot roast mix. I don't even eat pot roast anymore, and I probably wouldn't use this. So this is probably one of the things that needs to just go. Or I just need to find somewhere else to use it and just put it up here, because it's not going to get used where it sits right now. Okay, I got more minced onion. I need to combine that. Okay, this is another one of my German spices that I like. It is called Sonofix, and it's basically just kind of an allspice salt substitute kind of thing. It tastes a little bit cheesy and salty. I don't actually know. Let me see what's in here. Okay, so it has salt in it. Rice flour. I'm trying to read in German and translate. Pastinaken, I don't know what that is. Hefe extract, so yeast, onions, sunflower oil, curcuma, I'm not sure what curcuma is, and pepper. Okay, sea salt, I'm trying to read it again now. Sea salt, rice flour, something I don't know, yeast, onions, sunflower oil, something else I don't know, and pepper. That's what's in here. But it's good. It's so good. So yeah, I still have a little bit left. I've been trying to hold out again because my dad may not be able to get me anymore. And sometimes some of this stuff I can find online, but others I can't find. So anyway, all right, next thing is, this is some kale flakes. I probably should keep this in the pantry because this would be more like something I would just add in as a dehydrated thing into soups or something, not as a spice necessarily. So let's move that up here to the pantry stuff. See, this is helping me out, guys. I'm getting things sorted. Oh, see, again, something else that's not supposed to be here. This is Parmesan cheese. It has not been opened, so it's fine, but that needs to go into the pantry also. All right, let's get back into the herbs and the spices. So parsley. Parsley is just, I love parsley. Anytime you want to make a dish just look great in the end and make it pop, sprinkle a little something green on it. It literally changes the way your food looks if you sprinkle something green on it. I either used parsley or cilantro or green onions or chives, fresh or dried, it doesn't really matter, but you sprinkle a little something green on top of your dish and it makes it feel like spring again, and it just adds a little something to it. So parsley is a great use for that. So I keep a lot of that around. Okay, next is cumin. So I have ground cumin and I also have cumin seeds, which you can grind down. I love cumin, guys. Cumin is so delicious. I'm gonna go ahead and reference this too. This is coriander seeds. So cilantro is also called coriander, and these are the seeds from the cilantro. So instead of having the dried cilantro, which doesn't necessarily dry all that well, you use the seeds and grind those down, or you can toast them in some oil. Same with the cumin seed. And it just, oh my gosh, it brings out the flavor so well. So these are all great for your Mexican cooking, chilies and stuff like that. You're gonna get that great smoky flavor from the cumin, and I always like to keep that on hand. It's really one of my favorite things. It goes great in chilies. It also goes good, it translates over into a lot of those curries and Mediterranean dishes. They use a lot of cumin in those too, so it has a lot of uses there. Next up, I have some dill, and I don't really have very much left, so this is going to be something I need to put on my next Azure order, or I need to go see in my garden. I have some dill that has been kind of hanging on this winter, and it'll probably start taking off as the spring goes, and maybe I won't need any more. I can harvest my own. All right, back here I have, again, this is very little left of Italian seasoning. I don't use a lot of Italian seasoning. I tend to pull the separate seasonings together more rather than have all of it together. So I may or may not replace the Italian seasoning. I haven't really decided yet. Okay, this is honey. I don't know why the honey is in here. It's not supposed to be in here. So again, something that needs to go into the pantry, and we'll move that. Okay, let's pull some of these. All right, next is citric acid. This also does not really need to be in the spice drawer. We do not use this as a spice. This is used when we do canning. Instead of adding lemon juice, sometimes you still need to add acid to your canning, but you don't want to add sourness necessarily from that lemon or that lemon flavor, and you can use citric acid for that. So again, this is going up here because it's going to go into the pantry area where we keep all of our canning and pickling items. Okay, next up, nutritional yeast. This is also going to go, well, I might leave this one in here. I do use this sort of as a spice. It's also used in some other applications as well for us, but we sprinkle this on popcorn more than we do, we use it for anything else. And so, yeah, nutritional yeast is just, it's got this neat, like cheesy, savory kind of flavor, and a lot of people who are vegan use it as a cheese substitute, and they make different like cheesy sauces and stuff with it. So anyway, if you need something like that, this is your go-to, and we keep that. And I also have ordered it recently from Azure Standard so that we have plenty of it on hand. All right, the last few things. We have oregano, which obviously we're going to be growing this year. This is bought from Azure, but I have oregano plants out there that hopefully will be taking off, and we'll get our own fresh oregano. But oregano is great in Italian cooking. It's also great in Mexican cooking, so we really love to have that around. I don't use it as much as the other stuff, but we do use a fair share of oregano. All right, next up is mustard seed. These are yellow mustard seeds, and we use these in pickling and canning during canning season, and then we also use these to make mustard. So this is how you make mustard, guys. You grind this down and mix it with some other ingredients, and you make mustard. So I had these just in case we ever ran out of mustard and we wanted to make our own, but we use these for all kinds of stuff. And we may need to go ahead and order some more, because we're going to be getting into pickling season, and we usually use, you know, a little bit of this in each of our pickling jars. All right, next, this is just ground black pepper. Obviously, everybody knows ground black pepper, why you need that. And then this is Old Bay seasoning. This stuff is so good, not just on, you know, fish and chicken, but it's great on vegetables. I saw a couple different channels that were talking about using this like on potatoes or even on carrots and roasting them in the oven, and I was like, man, I don't know about that. Oh boy, it was good. So yeah, try it, guys. Gives it a little kick now. It has a little kick to it. So if you don't like that little spiciness, then maybe don't try it, but we loved it. We thought it was great. Okay, just a couple more things in here. This is just chicken broth base. Like, instead of it being powdery though, it's more like a thick, I don't know if this is even open. It's not. It's like a thicker liquid almost, like it's like a paste. So yeah, that's just, again, if you need a chicken broth quickly, you can use this. You just dilute it into, you know, warm, hot, boiling water. Then we just have some ice cream salt. If we're making ice cream in our ice cream maker in, you know, the summertime, you need some of that rock salt in there. So we don't really spice with that, but it's for ice cream. Last is mustard powder. So basically this is what you get if you grind up mustard seeds. You get this powder, and again, you can use this for making mustard or just adding as a spice to other things. All right, and this is just a spice blend that I got that I didn't use, and actually probably isn't even any good anymore. So I'm gonna move that one up here. And then lastly, this probably needs to go in with the baking things. These are whole vanilla beans. Either put them with the baking things, or I need to go ahead and make some vanilla extract with them and put them into some alcohol, either vodka or maybe, you know, some bourbon or something like that. You can soak those. Usually 4 or 5 months, 6 months, you have vanilla extract. So I'm gonna probably need to do that, and I'll put those up here too. So this is empty. This is just a little pinch pot. Let's get that out of the way. That was a tour of my spice drawer. I'm a spice hoarder, I know, but these are the things that I like to keep on hand. Some of them, like I said, the little jars of things, those not so much, but anything you see that I kept a big jar of, it's important enough to me to keep that much as a backup, and it's something that we use regularly, multiple times a week, and things that I would recommend you keeping on hand. But what's important is that you keep the stuff that you like to cook with. So if you cook with certain spices all the time, make sure you have backups of them and keep them around, so that way you always have what you need and you don't run out. All right, guys, I've taken up enough of your time today. I hope you enjoyed our video about our spice cabinets and drawers. We didn't even get to the small one over here, but there's lots of little things in there that we just don't regularly use. And we just probably will be phasing some of those out because we just haven't used them. Now, next video, I cannot wait. We're going to be taking some of these spices and we're going to create some of those spice blends that we use all the time. Taco seasoning, ranch dressing mix, Cajun spice, chili spice, all those things. We're going to be pulling some great seasoning blends together for you so that you can have those ready on hand, scoop them out, put them in what you need, and they're ready to go. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's content. Please hit that like button down below if you did. Consider subscribing if you enjoyed it. And we can't wait to see you next time here at Row & Co Farms.